If this landscape were a genre of music, what would the genre be?
Crikey. I don't know, probably like the bagpipes, you know, of Scotland.
It's kind of radio rock. It's kind of smooth, it's kind of flat. Yeah, I mean, I immediately think of the Eagles.
Is Maori thrash an existing genre of music?
It is now.
A teenage heavy metal band from Northland has made history by winning both the Smoke-Free Rock Quest and the Smoke-Free Pacifica Beats competition on the same weekend. The members of Alien Weaponry, brothers Henry and Louis de Jong, along with bass player Ethan Trembath, impressed the Rock Quest judges with their music.
Yo, we're just on the top of the road. Tuning in now. See you soon. Bye.
We've been a band for 8 years, and I mean, really, we've been playing shows since I was probably about 13. It would be strange to not have our parents on the road with us all the time. We work really well as a team, and this would not have been possible without our family. Like, honestly, it's really amazing what they've done in order to make this happen for us.
They gave birth to us.
Yeah, I mean, there was that.
I still don't really like the real black death metal stuff. It's like a brick wall of sound, you know.
Yeah, I think Mum likes our music. I mean, she puts up with it at least.
How old were you guys when you wrote your first song?
Oh God, I was 10 and Lewis was 8 when we wrote our first song.
It was Alien Weaponry.
As Alien Weaponry, yeah.
So these guys are like your brothers. You've sort of been adopted by the family, right?
Yeah, kind of.
He's at our house often enough that, you know, he may as well be our brother.
I met Lewis at primary school, but we sort of got to know each other at circus school in Waipu, called Circle Circus. And one day we're in the band room and Henry and Lewis are jamming out. And Neil was passing around the bass, just sort of trying it out. Turns out I was the only kid that could actually reach it into the bass. So by default, I sort of became the bass player.
So I guess you're like my stepbrother.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were younger, we'd go on road trips with Mum and Dad used to be constantly pointing out landmarks and stuff and you know, saying, hey boys, do you know what battle happened here? And then, you know, of course we wouldn't know, and so he'd go on to explain the story.
Māori history's fascinating. There's all sorts of interesting and bizarre things that have happened here. This po here is one of the main po out of the house Rangitihi, which is the neighbouring house to our wharenui, Haumei Tāwhiti. So this was carved by Te Wero, who was one of our family as well.
Not a lot of kids have a father who actually knows pretty much everything about their genealogy all the way down to our ancestors who landed here, you know, thousands of years ago. Haka is what you guys would refer to as the war dance. So, you know, it's what you do to your enemy to intimidate them and scare them and kind of prove yourself before a battle. Yeah, well, it's very aggressive with the idea of really getting the performers almost enraged and ready for battle.
Now Adam Blair with the Haka for New Zealand.
A lot of performers and stuff will try to kind of modernise the traditional Maori performance style. It's quite an aggressive performance, so really the metal and the haka really fit really well.
Haka is not always done as a war challenge. It's often done as a way of identifying who you are. It's a way of showing support and powerful emotion to other people.
Our dad's very connected with our Maori side of the family. Because me and Lewis had grown up speaking Maori, we decided that it would be a good idea to maybe incorporate that into our music. We've had a few people come up to us at gigs and tell us, hey, I've started taking Māori classes because of you guys, and it's really cool. I have a lot of Dutch in me, which is why I'm quite white. I identify more as Māori because that's just, as I was growing up, that's really what I connected most with. My dad used to do haka with a guy who was entirely Dutch, 100% Dutch. And this guy used to get asked all the time, you know, why do you do this? Why don't you do something that's more Dutch? He used to say to people, have you ever seen Dutch folk dancing? Why would I want to do that?
Thank you. We just went into the Hobbiton Village, which is the second movie set that was built for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so the Hobbit trilogy. And we had 44 Hobbit holes. Amazing little village. Get to walk all around it. Get to walk along the paths that Frodo and Gandalf did in the films. Now, looking out to the right, this is the view that Peter Jackson envisioned the Shire to look like. Rolling green hills of the Hinuita Valley, scattered tree lines, and in the distance he got the added bonus of the Kaimai Ranges, which did feature in the Fellowship of the Ring. for like 5 seconds.
When you guys suggested filming something in Hobbiton, our immediate reaction was kind of a very strong no.
I suppose we didn't want to be confused with Dungeons and Dragons, sorcery, Wizard on the Mountain metal. There's lots of bands that actually play in that genre, and all of their songs are very heroic. They're about, you know, wizards on mountains and kings on horses and sword fighting.
When stormy winds in autumn bring smell of snow and ice, the master of the golden hall will rise.
The boys felt that their music was about real life stuff. It's not fantasy metal. They are more in touch with and aware of the kind of socio-political climate of the world.
For us, one of the reasons we started writing was to inspire people to relearn the language. There was actually a point in New Zealand history where the language was actually banned in schools, and you could get into a lot of trouble for speaking Māori or even being Māori.
Tempers flared today as hundreds marched onto Parliament grounds.
About 600 people joined iwi leaders from the far north, Auckland and Tauranga to protest over the issue of overlapping treaty claims.
We are fighting for everyone who has been ripped off by colonial government. It's one of the main causes of tension and frustration in the Māori community here.
You need out your close reading notes and your assignments if you've got those. So all the time you're linking back and thinking, okay, so what's the point of this film? Is this about collaboration? Is this about teamwork? Is this about the family coming together? Is this about meeting their goals? What is the message and points of this film, okay?
I was actually on the bus coming home from school, and Neil calls me up and he's like, would you like to open for Prophets of Rage at Spark Arena? I was like, yeah. And like, I sort of had to take a while for it to sink in. And then I was like,
wow,
holy crap.
Rage Against the Machine and Public Enemy, you're right. You realise that, eh? It's just like...
It's been quite overwhelming how fast everything's been moving.
I mean, of course, one of the early influences for the band was Rage Against the Machine, so for them it's a bit of a dream come true now to actually open for the Prophets of Rage. TV series. G'day Ethan, how you doing? We are just leaving ours now, so we'll see you in probably about 25 minutes to Otapatea? No. We got this message from the high school saying Lewis has not showed up at school today. Was it like a truancy notice? I just got a truancy notice from school for you, Lewis. A text saying you're absent.
Lewis is absent. Where is he?
I'm not sure where the loading docks are. I can see loading docks there. I don't know how we get there. We might have to get off a different road. So you want to pull up here, Henry? It's behind this car.
Okay, we're moving now, guys.
Hello. I'm in the green room again now. Henry and Ethan have gone back to the stage. I think Lewis is here. So how you feeling, Lewis? Good? Good. See, people came running to the front of the stage as soon as the doors were open. It's kind of cool.
As you guys grow and you get bigger, just always remember where you come from. And that'll keep you grounded.
What's up, Auckland?
Right, before we play this song, I just want to thank Prophets of Rage for inviting us to play with them. We grew up on Rage Against the Machine and Public Enemy. This has been a dream come true for us. But I especially want to thank you guys for showing up and watching us. We love you more than anyone. This song is dedicated to our great-great-great-grandfather who fought at the battle at Gate Pa. His name was Te Ahoaho.
Whakarongomaira!
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 Whakarongomai ki te tangi o ngā pūrunga I te taumata.
Part of what we're doing is we're putting, our history into these songs. One of our songs, Ruana Te Whenua, is actually about our ancestor who died at Gate Pa, which was a real big battle that happened during the mid-1800s.
Te Ahoaho, who was my great-grandfather's grandfather, was killed at Pukehinina.
A lot of my family fought in that battle, so it does hold a personal connection to us. It's been really cool to be able to actually get crowds that are really insanely into what we're doing and moshing really, really, really hard to the music.
Thank you, Mauritian Weaponry. You guys meet us at the merch table in 10 minutes, all right? We love each and every one of you. Good night!
It's getting to the point now where I think our next vehicle is going to have to be an unmarked vehicle, just because we are stopped so often now for photographs and things that, it's in order to get to where we're going, you may have to do it in disguise.
What's the next step for the band?
I don't know. Well, we'll head off to Europe, seek our fortunes, I suppose. Hail the new wave of destruction.